Okay, I think it's not letting people. Here we go. I just changed it so people can unmute themselves. Okay, you should be able to now, Lindsay.
Hello. Sorry, I'm still under as Reed. I got married in July and this
Oh,
whole
congratulations. That's awesome. You're like still a newlywed. That's exciting. Oh, wait. Are you muted still? Did I lose you?
you there?
There you go.
There we go. Hi. Sorry, of course, with homeschooling in my neighborhood, everybody's using the Wi-Fi. So hello.
Oh,
Sorry, I
girl,
just
I
switched.
totally get it. I don't know what's going on with our Wi-Fi, but last night my whole Wi-Fi went out throughout my house. It's still out. So I'm like, thank goodness I have it. I just can use my phone to do it. But it's
Yes.
like, I wonder if it's the same thing. It's so crazy. We've been having so many issues lately, and I'm like, it's probably because everybody's using the dang internet.
I know it went from everybody who worked at home using internet to now everybody using internet during the day. I'm like, I keep losing it.
That's so funny. Um, did I say your last name? Well, wait, your new last name is Reed, or
No, so my new last name is Coggin. I before was known as Lindsey Reed. My new name is Lindsey Coggin. We got married in July, so I just haven't switched Zoom over to Coggin yet. So that is my new last name, Coggin.
well, congratulations again on getting married. That's super exciting. So I want to jump right in because we have like a limited amount of time with you, and I've got so many questions. I wanted to start with like, who the heck are you? What were you doing before network marketing? Um,
Oh boy.
and then like, how did you find network marketing? Is Lavelle your first company ever? And then how did you find Lavelle? And then we'll go kind of go from there.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm an open book. So feel free to ask me anything you want. I am huge on transparency and I don't pretend. Like I said to you when we were talking, I don't believe in the fake it till you make it. So if you have any questions for me ever on this Zoom, off this Zoom, you are more than welcome to shoot me a message and ask anything that I do or anything about myself. I am so beyond honest when it comes to my journey. So my name is Linz. For anybody who doesn't know who I am, I became a 200K leader in March of this year. I joined Lavelle December of 2017. So I'm creeping up on my 3rd year anniversary, which is crazy to think, because if you knew me before Lavelle, to think that I would stick with something for longer than a couple months, you would be like, who is she? So that was a really, really huge thing that my husband actually said to me. He was like, wow, you've actually like, you're here. And I was like, this is home. So that speaks a lot of volume just in general. I found network marketing when I was 19 years old in nursing school. Lavelle is not my first company, but I can tell you it is my forever company. I found it when I was 19 years old in nursing school. If we have any fellow RNs on here, you know that last couple semesters of, all of nursing school is awful, but the last couple of semesters, I was looking for more. I was looking for different. I knew that if I wanted to be able to pay down the debt that I was literally drowning in at 19 years old, I had to find more than just my 9 to 5, or in an RN's case, 12 to 16 hour shifts. So what I did was I found network marketing. I dabbled in it here or there, but I treated it like it was a hobby. Of course, I was 19. And so I was like, this is fun. And I treated it like I was a hobby. I found Lavelle about 3 years ago. And I just turned 27. So about 3 years ago, I found Lavelle. I was looking on Facebook and Instagram, and my enroller had been posting Emma Hastings, Emma Hennings now, she is my enroller, and she was sharing about how she just found a company, and we both came from the same previous company. And she was talking about all the good, right? All the things that made us different, all the things that honestly makes this home. The fact that we get to run our businesses for free, the free product credits every single month, the paid weekly, the paid on multiple different ways, just all the little things where if you've never been a part of other companies, you're like, this is good, but this isn't normal. What we have our hands on is, I say it so often, but it's unmatched what we have our hands on. And I just kept watching, and I watched her for 3 months before finally I was like, all right, I'm going to give this another shot. What's the worst that can happen? I quit after a couple months. All right, I've done that before. Well, it just so happens I came in. It was right when Lavelle had launched one of their first promos where they gave you extra fast starts in your first 14-year Go VIP. And I hit that. I did it on my mom's. And then in my first month, I ended up going 40K. So I hit it going really, really, really fast. I hit it really, really hard. And I realized that if I treated this like a hobby, that's exactly what it was going to be. It was going to be a hobby. If I treated this like a business, that's exactly what it was going to turn into and reward me like, compensate me like a business. And I quickly shifted my mindset. But at the same time, I grew so fast that I expected everything to go fast, right? Once I hit 80K in my second month. And then after that, it kind of plateaued, right? I was like, just kind of going. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to hit 200K. I got this. I'm going to hit 200K. And it didn't happen. And I allowed myself to kind of get down because I was like, what the heck? Like, I did it in a month. I did it in 2 months. Why isn't this happening? Until I realized that this isn't a microwave business. It's a crock pot business. It's something that simmers. It's something that grows with that consistency and that heat. And I can say that I am so, so glad that I didn't hit 200K super fast because I ended up losing my 80K rank. I ended up having in that mindset and I didn't re-rank 80K for a while. In fact, last February, I almost quit. And then I got pregnant with our son and something in me was like, you know what? Remember why you started. Remember why you're doing this. Don't quit. You have so much more left to fight for. You have so much more left to offer. And I realized that I'm not in this for myself. I'm in this to help other humans realize that they aren't a number in this industry. You're a heartbeat, and that's how you should be treated. And that everybody deserves not only our amazing products, but our comp plan, because it seriously is unmatched. So last February, I kind of rebuilt. If anybody ever has rebuilt here, hey, it doesn't mean failure. It doesn't mean anything except for it's a part of your journey. Your struggles create what you're going through. And last February, I decided to turn my mess into a message, not to sound like a Pinterest board over here, but I decided to turn it into a message. Stop treating it like it was something that was going to happen just because I posted cute selfies. Stop treating it like something was going to happen just because I made a story every now and then, or decided like, oh, okay, let me do this today, but not tomorrow. I decided to bet and go full on in on myself last February. And I can tell you that the last year and a half has been insane, that I can only imagine if I did this from the start.
I love that you shared all of that because honestly, so many people come in and they do, some people take off really fast and then they hit a wall, and then some people take off, they don't take off. And they're like, okay, I suck at this. They automatically think they're not going to get anywhere if they don't take off fast. And then, and I always say on this call, I think in my personal opinion, you find out what people are made of when they hit the wall. You're going to hit it at some point, whether it's in the very beginning or whether it's later on. It could be after you hit 200K, but you're always going to hit a wall. I don't care who you are. I hit walls all the time. And it's that decision. Am I going to push through this first wall, or am I going to let it take me over and I'm going to quit? It can be that simple. I'm going to quit. And I love your transparency because guess what? Everybody gets stuck and you didn't. Your ride to 200K didn't happen in 30 days. It didn't happen in a year. It didn't happen in 2 years. I mean, it took you a couple of years to get to that place. And it was also a decision. I love how you kind of talked about that because it kind of, you made a decision and you kind of got real with yourself and looked in the mirror like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I can't get to where I want to go if I'm going to do this sometimes, or if I'm not going to go all in with my efforts. And let's talk a little bit about like what you feel like you were doing or weren't, like what you weren't doing,
Yeah.
so to speak. What weren't you doing? Or do you feel like, did you get stuck because you were did you go into management mode? Did you think the people that were already in were going to get you 200K? So you kind of like, or like, what was it? And then what was at that point that you were like, okay, and these are the things you started doing again to get moving?
Yeah, so this is actually probably one of my favorite things to talk about. And I train on this a lot for my team, just because I feel like when we get into this, we get in that trap of, if somebody underneath us if they enroll and they don't hit their Go VIP, right? Or if they enroll and they miss their 4K or their 12K, or they enroll and they ghost you. Ghosting is not just dating, it's also in this industry. I get ghosted all the time. And you know what, I have to tell you that does not make you a bad leader. It just means you cannot want this more than somebody else does. And I tell my team all the time, I say, I will match your efforts. But if you're coming to me and you're giving me, I want 4K this month, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, but your actions don't match it, I'm going to match your actions and those efforts, not your words. To me, it is really, really big to make sure that you are always matching your team in their efforts, not what they're telling you, because that is your biggest, you're going to pull it into yourself. And you also have to know that your teams, what they do and they don't do is not always going to make you or break you as a leader. I tell that sounds kind of weird, right? Because you're like, my team, but I tell my team all the time, I say, you need to be your fastest, your biggest runner. If you are not your own personal runner on your team, how do you expect your team to follow you? And last February, I learned that about myself, is that I was depending on my team. I went into micromanagement mode and I started asking them, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why aren't you watching this training? You weren't on this training. You weren't doing this. You weren't doing that. And I caught myself. I looked in the mirror and I was like, okay, you need to call yourself out on this bullshit. And I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but I don't have a filter. But I looked at myself and I was like, you need to call yourself out on this bullshit, Linz. Like, talking to myself in the mirror, I probably look like a crazy person, but the crazier the better, right? And I literally looked at myself and I was like, what are you doing? You are in control of your business. You need to stay in your lane. You need to call yourself out before you start over here carpooling an Uber XL trying to call other people out. The thing that we don't understand about ourselves a lot, and I was really, really guilty of this, is we like to tell ourselves that we're doing all the things, right? But businesses aren't built on all the things that you're doing. They are built on all the things that you aren't doing, because the things that you aren't doing are what's going to bring you to that next level. And I realized I wasn't being consistent. I was working my business like a hobby and not a business. I was not being consistent every single day. I was showing up when I wanted to. I was showing up when it was convenient for me, when I remembered, instead of working it. And I sat down, I said, would I hire me or would I fire me? This is my business. Am I going to hire myself? And tomorrow, if I worked my business like this every single day, if I went in and was working in the hospital, would I be fired? Would I be able to save, would I be a good nurse if I worked my 14-hour shift like I work my business? Probably not. I would have been fired. And it came to that realization of, what was I doing every single day? And then what wasn't I doing? And I wasn't doing my IPAs, my income producing activities. I wasn't, on my team, I talk about fives lists. And that's how I create my content. That's how I create my social media around fives lists. My team, we sing Baby Shark, but like in baby fives do too. So because I preach it so much. Because if you're not you and you aren't building off of the reasons why you're here back to the basics, and you're just doing what you think social media wants to see, you're not grabbing the attention of people who are going to join you for you. You're going to run with people who are here because they relate to you. And the minute you call yourself out and you're like, you know what, I'm shifting this way. I need to stay back in my lane. I need to do my IPAs every single day. I need to create content around me every single day. I need to show up to trainings. I need to show up to what's going to grow me as a person. Your team is going to follow behind you. Your team is going to run right alongside you, because when you're in the trenches working with them every single day doing the things, that's when they are also going to be doing those things. I noticed that when I skip days in my stories, my leaders skip days in their stories. I noticed that when I didn't post, my team didn't post. So you really have to make sure that you're showing up every single day.
I love it. Like, I wish I could literally put on posters at everybody's house, everything you just said, so they had to look at it every day. Like, this is how you do it, guys. And you have to get real with yourself, because people do lead by your example. They're not dumb. They know whether you're showing up or not. They kind of get it. And I know that, we think, oh, if we're posting on Facebook but people see, they get whether you're enrolling or not enrolling, or whether you're, talking, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. And I think it's so important. I would love for you to kind of, you have been in, and because you've done like another network marketing company too, it's kind of like at this point, you probably had been through your network. Like, I'm talking friends, family, acquaintances, the people that you knew before you started. If they're going to join you, they probably have. And yeah, you're going to have some trickle in, like we all do. But at this point, you've got to continue to grow your network. And that never stops. Like, you don't get to 200K and go, okay, I'm cool. I don't need to meet new people. I don't really have to do anything else. You have to continue to constantly grow your network, or it can stall out. Like, you're not safe at 200K. You don't get to 200K and go, I'm 200K now, no worries. And people are going to knock on my front door every day and want to sign with me. It just doesn't work that way. In fact, it gets harder, because now you've run out of people and you've got to continue to meet and grow your network somehow. So how are you growing your network? Are you using, social media? How are you using it? Are you just doing Facebook? Is it Instagram too? What kind of tips do you have in that area of growing your network?
Yeah, of course. So something that I said to my leaders, I think it was last night actually, so it's funny that you asked this, is I said, now that I'm at 200K and I have this success, whatever that looks like in your eyes, because success is different to everybody, it's much more difficult to grow. And the reason I say that is because I have heard more times than not that I am intimidating because I have such a large team. I am intimidating because they don't want to bother me because I'm so busy. And the thing of it is, I'm not busy, like, right? Like, yes, I'm busy, but I'm busy with a purpose. I'm exhausted with a purpose. So to me, it's worth it. But you have to remember that if you feel like you can't share on social media because you don't have the team, or you don't have the rank, or you don't have anything like that, you're wrong. Like, and I hate telling people they're wrong, but you're wrong, like, you need to share it at all levels. You need to talk about it at all levels, because if you don't present the opportunity, if you don't talk about it, well, when I started, if I never talked about the opportunity because I didn't have a single person underneath me, I wouldn't be where I am today, right? I wouldn't have the rank, right? I wouldn't have that. So to me, no matter what level you're at, no matter when you're starting, if you're starting over, if today is day 0, whatever it may be for you, you need to share what's on your hands. You need to share the opportunity. You have to share what's here for you and what you have to offer, whether you've earned 4K, whether you've earned the 12K auto bonus, whatever it may be, it's still up for grabs. It's available to everybody. So you need to make sure that you're always sharing it. But when I first started, to bring it back to the first part of your question, when I first started, I didn't have a single person ready to join me. I didn't have anybody that wanted to be a customer. All my friends, my sisters, everybody was like, I'm good. Like, you're into this thing. Like, it's fine. The only person who agreed to be a promoter was my mom. And she told me as long as I worked it for her that I could use her account. And as long as I worked it for her. So that's exactly what I did. I ran with it. But more than that, I branded myself. And that's kind of where like my fives come in. And if you don't know what I'm talking about for like my fives list, I do have a YouTube channel and I have trainings on all that sorts of stuff that you are welcome. I share all of my trainings every single week to whoever wants them on my YouTube. They're normally loaded on Tuesdays. So if you ever have any questions about anything that I talk about, I probably have a training on it in my YouTube. But I think that it's huge when you are growing your network to never stop. And you have to do it around your fives. And for me, my fives lists are my branding fives, my product fives, and my comp plan fives. So for me, I have 5 things about myself. Every single post, every single caption, every single story, every single picture is wrapped around that because that makes it me. That's how I brand myself, not just Lavelle. Lavelle does an amazing job at branding our company. There's no question of how amazing Lavelle is to us about the products, about the comp plan, how they treat us, how they treat the customers. They do an amazing job of branding themselves. So now, how are you going to brand yourself around that also? What's going to set you apart? What's going to make you different? So when you're growing your network and you're doing things and growing my network, if anybody on here is a part of my tribe, then they know I send a list of IPAs every single day. So income producing activities to my team chat every single morning of things to do. And honestly, they're probably the same every single day, but that's the point. It's the basics and doing the same thing, the consistency that will build your business. So for me, I am huge on growing your network every single day, because if you do a little bit at a time every single day, that little bit is going to compound. It's the compound effect. What you do today, what you do tomorrow, it's going to show up in 6 months from now. It's going to be there. It's going to show up and it's going to pay you. That's where that residual is built from. So you might follow somebody today, and in a year from now, they might finally be like, and shoot you a message and say, hey, I saw your story. Like, I've been following you for a year. What is this? And I get those messages more times than not. I build on only social media. I don't really build belly to belly. I am more of a social media person. So I build on Instagram and Facebook.
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted and I wasn't. I'm talking and I'm like, wait a second. I don't think I'm unmuted. Yeah, and it is about kind of like branding yourself. And I think you want people to know, yes, you're the Lavelle person, but you also don't want to throw up all over your Facebook, Lavelle, or people aren't going to want to be part of your journey or part of your story because you're going to look salesy. I hope you guys cannot hear that. Can you? Okay, good. I have a GPS on. I have a doctor's appointment. So I can drive to that. And I'm like, is my GPS in everybody's ear? So my next question for you is, how do you launch a new promoter? Like, if I'm in your inbox today and I'm like, hey, Lindsey, ready to get started. What do you do in those first couple weeks of the business? Hold on, let me mute out this person. What do you do in those first couple weeks to help somebody VIP? I mean, I like people to realize not everyone VIPs. I mean, that is normal, because I think a lot of people think that like as a 200K, we get more people to VIP than they do. And I don't know about you, but I don't. I mean, I would say I probably have maybe 1 out of every 10 people that I sign, or a little bit more than that, depending, get their VIP bonuses. How do you, when you launch somebody, give them their best shot at having their best first month? Because I think it is super important, if we can get somebody the VIP bonuses, that we try to get them for them.
Yeah, of course. I would say mine's about 50-50 who earn it versus don't. But for me, I am huge on also reminding all new people that It's a one-time bonus. Yes. Is it an amazing thing to offer? Absolutely. Is it an amazing thing to earn? Of course, everything is, but it's a one-time bonus. So don't allow it to make or break your vision and why you are here. The reason being is because would you rather have a $400 or $800 one-time bonus or create a $400 and $800 residual weekly income? To me, I would rather have the residual, and that's built off of the basics. So I like to set them up with what to do in the first 14 days to carry them on to when they are here for 3 years, because I still do the things that I did in my first 14 days today. I don't care if we don't have any other rank after 200K, but I don't care where I am in the company. I'm always doing the basics. I am always back to the basics. Every 14 days is a new 14 days. And I say this all the time that day 15 is not day 15, it's day 1 again. So work every 14 days as if it's your first 14 days and you're back to the basics. You're building that residual and you're bringing people in. But how I launch per se, a new person. So somebody messages me, I send them the 3 promoter pack options. I have a little write-up. It's pretty simple. It just explains the 3 packs. And I just say, let me know which one fits your needs the best. And we'll get you started. Once they pick out their pack option, we get started. I add them into my team pages. And we get started on trainings. One of the trainings being how to kind of start your first 14 days, what you kind of are doing, what this is, a little bit about my tribe. And then the other one is explaining the VIP period, the first 14 days. And while they're watching that, we get a first post up for them. We get a curiosity, excitement post like, hey, I'm starting something new, stay tuned. A lot of times people think that new promoters are pregnant because of the excitement post, but it's fine because people are watching your page and they're looking at it. The next thing we do is we go through IPAs, what that looks like, IPAs versus non-negotiables for your business, because to me, those are 2 separate things. And you have to know the difference between them in order to really work on days that you want to unplug, because who doesn't want to unplug most days, right? We unplug for moments though, not days. You make sure that you get those key important things done. So I make sure that they know those. The next thing that I do is we talk about the 5s list, and I help them create their 3 5s lists for content, for creating content, for working on it, for doing all that different stuff. And I help them create a couple posts and a couple opportunity stories for Facebook and Instagram. I am huge on using your stories and your posts. I believe that if you make one really good post a day that has excitement, that has that, when you're new, that urgency behind it, right? Because urgency creates questions, creates that curiosity, creates that FOMO. I don't want to miss it. So letting that known is pretty dang important also in the first 14 days. And then we just kind of start working from there. We work through their IPAs. We work through posts for them. We work through stories for them. I teach them how to make opportunity stories. I'm really hands-on in the first 14, well, honestly, in the first a lot of days, just because I feel like everybody learns at a different pace. And just because somebody doesn't hit their first 14 days doesn't mean that day 35, it's not all going to click for them and they're going to go running. And that could be your next 4K, 12K. So I'm really, really hands-on in teaching how to do stories, how to do all these different things. That way they know that they linked arms with me and I'm going to walk them through, because as a leader, I think that's super important when you enroll somebody that you remind them they're not in this alone, because when they join this industry, that can be the biggest kind of discouraging moment, is when they get stuck in that comparison trap and then they feel alone. I know myself, I've been in the comparison trap more times than not. So knowing that you have somebody to lean on during those times is really, if that relationship is formed in the first 14 days.
Do you guys do a lot of like 3-way messages? Is that like something that you utilize, or is it not a big thing with your guys' team?
So I offer 3-way chats all the time. I don't care what level they're at, where they're at in their business. If sometimes you just need that partner, right? That friend to just have your back and answer questions. Because sometimes you can be talking to that one person and all of a sudden you like forget everything about the company. Who's done that? Hi. I definitely have, where I'm like, right. And you need somebody to lean on. So if you are uncomfortable and you're building that confidence, because I think that it happens a lot. you build through confidence. And I tell people all the time, if you don't have the confidence in a specific area, borrow it from somebody and have them help you. Ask them questions about conversations, ask them questions, or ask them to jump in a 3-way chat with you. And I guarantee you they will, because confidence sometimes needs to be borrowed.
No, I agree. And I was going to ask you about the comparison thing. Like, it's so hard, and everybody does it. I don't care who you are. Like, even when, like, I was looking at Courtney Glazer, and I'm like, what is she doing? I need to do better. Like, I think we all compare. We just do. And we also all lose people. And I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I know how hard it is. Like, we take it personally, if people leave our team, or it sucks. It sucks. And I've lost entire legs before. It's not like one person. I've lost, like, people seem to think the grass is greener, and which is hilarious to me. And I absolutely feel bad for people that do, because I actually kind of keep an eye out on people that do leave and go other places. And I don't have one person that's left to go to another place that isn't on to like their third place or hasn't tried to come back to Lavelle. So it's like just confirmation to me that I know we're in the right place at the right time. But how do you kind of deal with that? I don't know, that when you lose somebody, it sucks. Like, how do you deal with it?
So it's so funny that you asked that, because I have lost entire legs also. I have rebuilt, y'all. I am like queen of rebuilding. Hey, hi, hello. It's fine. You can do it. Trust me when I say you can rebuild at any time. There is no expiration date on your team. There is no anything, but also understanding you don't own your team. That was like the biggest micromanaging tip and managing tip that I had to give myself, because I've had people leave. I've had leaders, like 40K leaders, leave. But I also have to say, anybody who has been a leader on my team has left, has come back. I lost an entire leg. She was one of my strongest legs, and when she left, she took her entire leg and then some other legs with her. And let me tell you what, she came back not even 10 months later, because what we have here is unmatched. I don't know how, you're probably like, this girl needs a new vocabulary, but it seriously is. We're so unmatched in more ways than not, that I used to take it personal, and then I realized, you know what, sometimes people need to grow. Sometimes people need to go and see that what they have their hands on is the best, because they'll be back. And the beauty of it is, once they cancel 6 months, if they're right with compliance and they message compliance and they get back with compliance, then guess what? They can come back. But you have to let people fail forward. And I don't call them leaving a failure. I just say, you know what, best of luck. I'm here if you need anything. I'm not in that block culture of blocking people, unfriending, because you know what, just because somebody leaves doesn't mean, she left and she took her entire leg, right? Everybody who was underneath her went with her. And I wish them all the best, because guess what? Every single one of them is back now, and she's going to hit, she should be hitting 80K this month. She came super, super close last month, but that's the thing. You have to know that you don't own your team. The best thing you can do as a leader is always leave that door open, that window open, and know that when they realize that what they had is the best, they're going to come back to you. But if you block them, if you do anything like that and you just say, like cause issues or whatever it may be, businesses are not built on that drama. People need to fail forward on their own and realize what they had was the best. Because I can tell you, anybody who has ever left, the same thing that you just said, anybody that has ever left, they're either in their like third or fifth company, or they became social media like marketing strategists and are trying to sell themselves all over social media. It ain't it. We're unmatched. Like it ain't it.
It's just so funny to me, because like you're so right. I remember when I first started in network marketing 10 years ago, if somebody would leave, I would freak out and I would be like, everybody block this person and blah, blah, blah. And you learn a lot over 10 years. And one of the things I learned is you have to bless and release. And, the other thing I learned is people take them with them, if that makes sense. Like, you're going to take you with you wherever you go. So whatever bad habits that you had, or if you stopped working your business here, or if you got lazy, or whatever reasons it was that your business wasn't growing, it's going to happen the next place you go, and the next place, and the next place. So it's really about kind of fixing yourself. Like, what are you not doing? Being honest and looking in the mirror, getting real with yourself, which is hard to do. I get it. But I also kind of wanted to know, like, it's inevitable. And I think everybody needs to know this, whether they're brand new or if they've been in for a long time and they have a huge team or a bigger team. You already know this. Everybody knows this, and you're going to run into it. We are going to run into people that we don't get along with. We're going to have to work sometimes with people that we don't get along with, or that just aren't our cup of tea. And there's going to be conflict. Like, I know you've heard it. I don't want to work this person because they're my upline and they don't do anything. I don't want to make them any money. That old line, or I don't get along with so-and-so, or I think I'm going to separate my team because I don't like this upline. I mean, I have people under me that separate themselves, that they just don't like me. I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, though, one of the things I've seen hugely is that people that kind of segregate their team from the rest of the world, they end up getting really stalled out. Like, they don't move forward. And I've also learned, there's different ways to deal with things happening on your team and all of that. So kind of, how do you deal with like the conflict part of this business? Because it's reality. It doesn't matter where you work, it happens.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen regardless. I have legs underneath me that do their own thing, that don't talk to me. Like, I always tell people, I said it on this, I have no filter. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not even everyone's shot of whiskey. Like, I might be like, who knows what I am, but I'm not for everybody. And you know what? That's okay, because I was not created for everybody. I was created for those who want to learn from me. And the best thing I've learned is that businesses are not built where drama is happening. Businesses are not built off of drama. So what I do is, I know that it's a personal thing and not a business thing. Therefore, I don't bring it into my business. If somebody wants to do their own thing, God bless you. I wish you the best of luck. I am here if you need me for anything, because guess what? I am still in this business. I'm not going anywhere. And at the end of the day, I will be here for whoever needs me. I don't care if they are 38 levels down on the comp plan from me. I am here. I am huge on making sure that rock in the creek doesn't stop at the cliff and it goes all the way down, right? So for me, the biggest thing is, we're better together. Whether it be that you don't like me personally, I can deal with that. Half the people don't like me. It's fine. Like, I'm all right with it. I like myself enough for everybody that I'm all right, right? I've learned to love myself. It's taken years of self-development, mindset work, but I've learned that a lot of times it's also insecurities. A lot of times it's, do you really not like that person, or are you insecure for what they're doing that you feel intimidated? Because a lot of times that is, sorry, words are catching to me. That is the comparison trap shining through. So what I do is, I remind people, I say, you don't have to like me, but don't make a business decision for your entire team based off of a personal decision. Because again, you don't own your team. I don't own my downline. Not a single person on it. If somebody wants to go ahead, babe. Like, I'm here. If somebody wants to break off and do their own thing, go ahead, babe. I'm here. The thing that you can do as a leader is just be there. If they don't want to utilize your resource and your tool, at least you can do is be there for if they do, or anybody on their team needs to. I don't care. The team that completely didn't leave, but broke off from underneath me, their team still comes to me. Their downline still comes to me, because you cannot make a business decision from personal reasonings about somebody, because there's nothing personal about business. If you want to be successful, you have to know how to separate the two, because how many of y'all have worked a 9-to-5 or anything and hated your manager, hated your boss? What did you do? Just not show up? You can't do that. You also have to know that just because you don't click with somebody, I might say something one day that somebody in your downline needed to hear, and it's going to be that one thing that lights their fire. Don't remove people from from any resources. Allow anybody who wants to train your team to train your team. Any resources that your team wants to use, any tools, allow it. Why? Because you don't own them and you don't know what is going to take place that's going to light that fire for them. And just know that nothing personal is ever going to build your business. Businesses are built off of business. It's built off of that respect, that loyalty, that integrity, that morale that you have, your work ethic. It's not built off of, I don't like her. That built nobody's business ever. I can promise you.
I love that. That built nobody's business. That should be on a t-shirt. That built nobody's business ever. It doesn't. And that's the thing, is you got to get over yourself. Usually it's just like a power trip that people are on. And it's like, look, and you have several uplines. And you don't even need an upline in this business. Let's get for real. Like, there's so many tools out there that I'm not going to let anybody dictate my success. Like, I don't care if I had 10 uplines above me that hated my guts. Like, I'm going to make this work. Like, I'm going to go find the videos on YouTube. I'm going to go in the cloud office and watch those. I'm going to go find help if I need it. And you can't to me, that's just a bow out excuse for somebody that maybe their business isn't moving in the right direction. And they're just looking for someone to blame. And the easiest person to usually blame is, I'm not getting help from an upline, or I don't get any, or my downline's not working. One of those reasons. My downline's not working this. It's always somebody looking for an excuse, and really there is no excuse. It's like, it's something you're not doing. Like, that's what I found is, if business isn't moving forward, you've got to go, what am I not doing? Or what do I need to do differently? Or maybe I feel like I'm invested, because I see a lot of people fall into that busy work trap where they think they're working, but they're not really working. Like, because they're, on Facebook every day with 10 DFTs on, and they're on every Zoom, and they know the ingredients of all the products. And they're like, why is my business not growing? And it's because they're not adding new people. And that's what I wanted to kind of talk to you about next, is following up. Like, how do you, do you have a limit? Like, I'm just going to stop following up with this person if they don't answer me in 10 times, or do you have a method of follow up in general?
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to say one thing before I go into that is, your upline will not make or break your business. Just to kind of piggyback off of what you said just for a second, I can promise you, your upline will not make or break your business. The only person who's going to make or break your business is you, and what you are not doing and what you are doing. Just know that you can be a part of 37 team pages, but if you aren't applying the trainings, if you aren't going and being a sponge, I'm a 200K and I still hop on every single training, even if I'm not leading it. And I don't lead all of them. And I learn. I don't care if you started yesterday, if you started 7 minutes ago, if you want to speak and you want to train on something, I'm there listening, because I know that there's so much to be learned in this industry. There's no one right way to do anything. And I know my way is not the best or the right or whatever, because there is no best or right way. There's a you way. You adapt everything and you run and you don't give up on it. And if you aren't moving forward, well then sis, start doing the shuffle side to side, because any movement, any motion is motion. It's moving your business. If you might not be in a standstill right here going forward, well, guess what? Shift to the right, shift to the left, and try to run forward that way. Do different things. Know that if you're doing the same thing for a year now and you haven't gotten anywhere, it might be time to switch it up. But as far as follow-up, sorry, I get into little tangents when it comes to that stuff. As far as follow-ups, I value my time. I know that what we have our hands on, not only do I value our time, I value our company, I value our products. So I am not somebody to sit there and message somebody like 17 times. If you have left me on red, babe, well, you know where to find me. I'm not going anywhere. The chances are, if they've reached out to you and they have asked you questions or anything like that, right? They're following you. They know what you're posting. They're watching. I have had people who have messaged me a year ago and I'm followed up with them twice. That's my rule. If we ended a message and I follow up with you once and you didn't respond, I will follow up with you one more time. If I am left on red those 2 times, I'm not following up with you anymore, just because I can take a hint, right? If you don't want to talk to me, don't talk to me. It's okay. I'm fine. I can talk to myself. I was an only child. I am good at this. Like, I am okay. I will find a new potential because I am always showing up every single day. When you are showing up every single day in your stories, in your posts, in your IPAs, interaction, whatever it is that you're doing, your non-negotiables, you are showing up every single day. People are watching. It might take them a year. It might take them a day. It might take them a month, but they're watching and they'll ask you questions. I don't believe, in the spamming or the reach outs or cold messages or anything like that. Personally, I know it works for many people. For me, I am such an awkward person that I wouldn't even know what to say. Like, hey, I like your eyebrows. Like, I don't know what to say to people. I am so awkward. So I leave it up to sharing me, sharing why I'm here, sharing why I use these products, sharing about my tribe, sharing about the company, sharing about all the things, instead of selling it. Because when you give your own personal testimony, as in you're sharing it, it's going to go so much further for people to wonder what you're doing. People want to know why you're happy. People want to know why you're losing weight. People want to know why you have energy. People want to know why your skin looks so good. People want to know. So if they want to know, people are nosy and they're going to ask you a question. They ask you a question once, well, guess what? They've been watching. I can tell you more times than not, people who have never commented or liked or done anything to my posts have been in my inbox. So likes and notifications and stuff like that do not equal success. That's monopoly money. You can't pay your bills with monopoly money. You can't pay your bills with a cute smile. So to me, those social media notifications are just that. So when you're following up with multiple people and you're doing it over and over and over again, you're turning them off from looking at your stuff. Allow them to watch. Meet people where they're at. I say this in my team and I say this to customers. If people want to come in and they don't want to be a promoter, don't make them be a promoter. Let them be a customer. Meet people where they're at and what their needs are. If somebody, I have multiple people on my team that don't have a 6-figure dream. They want to thrive for free. I meet them where they're at. We don't even talk about ranks. We talk about how we get you thriving for free. You have to meet everybody where they're at, and it starts with that follow-up, because if you are constantly messaging them, in my eyes personally, that's how you're going to be when they enroll with you.
I love that. It's so true. I mean, like, I don't know why we want to push anybody into being a promoter if they don't want to be one. Like, there's no reason to do that. So if you were new, I mean, I guess not new, but just in general for everybody on here, like, what are some income producing activities that you feel like are must do's? Like, without a doubt, no matter what, every day you should do the following 3 to 5 things.
I can read you my IPA list that I sent my team today. I have no problem doing that. I don't care. So for me, IPAs and non-negotiables. IPAs is a list of what to do every single day. These are things that if you time block, you can do these in 5-minute time blocks, right? A lot of these, once you do it once, you're done for the rest of the day, and it's going to work for you behind the scenes. Because to me, businesses are built behind the scenes, not just what you are doing in the forefront or being acknowledged or recognized for, right? So for me, IPAs and non-negotiables are very different, and I can kind of explain both if you guys would like to know what I mean by those. I also have a training on my YouTube on both of them and explaining the two and going through them. But to me, non-negotiables are things that I do on days that I need to unplug, days that I'm so busy, days that I need to have mental health self-care days, right? Those are 3 to 5 things that I need to do for my business every single day, and then I can unplug. Or if I unplug during the morning, I'm doing them as soon as I pick up my phone, right? They're things that I've done behind the scenes. So an IPA list for me this morning, I shared self-development, products on stories, AKA you're actually using your products in your stories. If you don't follow me on Instagram and you'd like to see what I see, not to do like a personal plug or anything, you don't have to follow me, but you can go and look at my stories. I'm public. My Instagram is at Lindsey Coggin. Somebody can put it in the chat. I know there's a couple girls on my team here. You share your stories, interactions with stories, so other people's stories, interactions with people's posts, and interactions with profiles, making a post, growing your network, and then today I put sharing about the $25 promo and gave some examples of that. 3, 2, 1 on new people. If you don't know what 3-2-1 is, it's liking 3 posts, commenting on 2 posts, and interacting with 1 story. And then I am in gratitude, because I feel like that is probably the biggest thing that I like to end my day with. And if you ever want to do a work with me, Zoom with me, I have many on my YouTube that are saved, and I go through all sorts of different things on them for an hour if you're not tired of my voice yet. And then non-negotiables to me are 3 to 5 things. So for me, my 3 non-negotiables every single day that I do for my business is I share to my stories, I post, and I interact. So those are those for me.
Oh my gosh, so good. Like it, and keep it so simple, but be consistent. Like I think people think that they've got to work this, 5 hours a day to go 12K or 40K. No, like most people are going to be working full-time jobs. They have kids, they have lives, whatever's going on. And you have to kind of work this in the nooks and crannies of your day, but you also have to make sure that when you're working it, it's income producing. Like you're not just like endlessly scrolling through Facebook, like watching cat videos and you feel like you're working because that's what you got on there to do. It can be, social media can be such a time like grabber. Like it can grab all of our time up and we don't even realize it. And it's, and a lot of people aren't even seeing our stuff because we're just not interacting with people that aren't in Lavelle. Like there's so many little things, but I love everything you said. So to close us out, one last question. I feel like self-development is absolutely huge in this business. Everybody has their way of doing self-development. Like for me, I get up in the morning and I have a journal. I say my gratitude. I have like certain books that are my go-to books, podcasts, all of that goodness. Are there things that, especially for new people that kind of are new to self-development? Because I know before network marketing, I had no idea what that was. I was like, what are you talking about? I just go to work every day. What do you mean? What are you telling me to go make a vision board? What is that? Are there certain things that you feel like people are gearing somebody in a good direction of things that maybe you personally do for self-development?
Yeah. And for anybody, I was reading the chat. For anybody who's asking, I changed my name on here to add my married name so you know how to spell it and find me. I'm sorry, but my YouTube is just Lindsey Reed Coggin, and then all my social media is Lindsey Coggin. For those who are asking about the trainings that I was talking about. But self-development it's so important and it's so underrated. For me, self-development is different for every single person. So when people ask me, hey, what's some self-development I can do? I'm like, well, it depends on you. Some days my self-development is gym. I go to the gym, I turn my phone on airplane mode, and I work out for an hour and a half, right? That can be self-development. Sometimes self-development is going on a walk around my neighborhood with my son. So it really is just whatever clears your mind. That to me is the best self-development. Some days I do podcasts. I have my own podcast, and self-development to me is also recording a podcast. I love to pour into people. Pouring into people fills my cup. Doing trainings, offering advice, helping people in this kind of industry is also a self-development for me. Hi, Bubba, come here. Sorry, my son just got home. Watching people do trainings like this could be self-development. You can go on and watch 2 trainings. Come here, Bubba. And do self-development. You can do all sorts of things. So for me, self-development, it's such a broad, underrated topic that Rylan agrees. If you can hear my son, I apologize. You want to come say hi? Come here. You can do all sorts of things. But most importantly, find what you grow in. Find what clears your mind. If it's going out for a walk, if it's listening to a podcast, if it's listening to a training, all the things you can do, you just have to make sure. Sorry, so he stopped screaming. This is Rylan, everyone. You just have to make sure that you find what clears your mind. Find what does best for you and where you're going to grow. Because if you're having so much in your head that's telling you can't do something, I'm going to tell you, it's not that you can't do it. It's that your mind and your brain has not been cleared. You need to clear it up and tell yourself that you can, because if you're telling yourself that you can't, you probably need to do more self-development. And you can also do too much self-development. I don't know if anybody has ever done that, but if you've ever done too much self-development where you sit there and you're like, I need a nap. Because that has been me multiple times. You need to find what makes you tick. Everybody is different. If you need podcast suggestions, there are so many good ones. You can send me a message and I can send you some of my favorite. I like more business related podcasts than I do inspirational ones. To me, my cup gets filled on like practical trainings, practical like things about our industry. You can go on to other leaders' YouTubes if you're not in their team, on their team page, because most of us share them on our YouTube for everybody to be able to watch. You can do all sorts of things, but like today after this, I'm going to the gym and that will be my self-development. It really clears my brain and it allows me to come back and basically kick ass in my business.
I love it because it's true. For everybody, it's different, but it's basically get your mind right. Get your mind in a place where you're not burning yourself out and you are, you're wanting to work this business. I always tell people if this is not fun, you're doing something wrong. Like sit back, relax. This is supposed to be fun. And if you're making it such a chore, that's part of the problem. Like have fun with this, enjoy it. We get to do something that most people don't get to do. We get to change lives and we get to be part of a business with a bunch of people and watch dreams come true. I mean, what is so horrible about that? It's all amazing. I am so just grateful for you, Lindsey, and thank you so much for hopping on today and sharing all of your amazingness with us. I know I always say this every week and it's true. There was somebody on today that needed to hear exactly what you had to say, probably several people. But I hope you guys took some good notes. And you're right, like getting on this Zoom every week is self-development for me. And I love hearing other 200K stories and journeys and where they're at, because it makes me realize I'm not the only one that's stuck, or I'm not the only one that's lost rank, or I'm not the only one that missed a bonus. I mean, these things happen to everybody, and you have to realize that you just keep going and have fun with it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for doing this.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you. This was so fun.
You were awesome. I appreciate it so much. And you guys, guess what else happens? In 1 minute, we get paid. I never stop being grateful for Tuesdays. We get paid twice, once with this call, once with our paycheck. It's awesome. It's a great day. And next week, you guys will be here again, same time, same place, same link every week. You guys are welcome to share it with the world. And new guests, new 200K guests every week. And I've got a lineup for the next 2 months that is incredible. So you guys are not going to want to miss these stories. I just was counting and I think I've hit like 83 200Ks that I've been able to interview over the last couple years. So that is pretty dang exciting. And the cool thing about it is I never run out, because Lavelle is always like making new 200Ks. Like most companies,
You'll
it's
never
like,
run
okay,
out. There's always
I know.
more of us.
There's always more. There's always new people hitting the ranks. So it's so awesome. You guys have amazing Tuesday. Thanks again, Lindsey. And thanks to all of you for taking time out of your day to hop on this Zoom. And I hope you guys got some golden nuggets, as many as I did. It was amazing. Have a great week, guys.
Bye. Thank you.